So Nearby Brad, today we're announcing which design of our new merch our audience wanted to see. But that'll happen at the end of the video. But first, let's talk about egg.
Oh my God! Can I offer you a nice egg?
I really wanted you to break that.
I bet everyone watching at home right now is like, that egg's gonna break. Break the egg. Karl, break the egg. Break the egg. So I'm just gonna do a Leon Kennedy pose for a little bit. Like RE4 when he gets an egg and he's just like, yeah. So what do you know about egg, Brad?
But I don't know about egg.
Yeah, we're not talking about egg. So next to the skull of a newborn baby and a man's ego on the internet, there are a few things considered more universally fragile than egg. I'm going to put in so many clips of Danny DeVito just going, egg. Because I love that clip.
Egg!
That is unless, of course, the egg was coated in starlight, a substance that would allow this humble egg to nestle safely in the jockstrap of Johnny Storm without any issue. So I'm going to put the egg away now, because I just know people are going to be like, egg. Or should I just like play with the egg the entire video, see if we break it?
I think, yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking what would be more funny. So, Brad, do you know anything about Starlight?
You mean the hero from The Boys?
Well, I'm going to put clips of her in as well, because hell yeah, Starlight from The Boys.
Now that you've told my 190 million followers, I'm still pretty famous.
Hey, everybody!
That's me.
Well, I'm going to guess, Brad, your first question is, like, what the fuck is Starlight, besides a character on The Boys, yes?
Yeah.
Well, Starlight, quite simply, I can't describe it because no fucker on earth knows how to make it, except for a guy called Maurice Ward, its inventor.
This is starting to sound like something from a comic book.
It does sound like something from a comic book, doesn't it? And it's about to get even more stupid because Starlight, the substance, is known as being one of the singular best insulators against heat ever seen. To the point where, if you coat an egg in a thumbnail-thick coating of it, you can expose it to the heat of a blowtorch for an hour.
I'm going to leave this torch here, blowing on this egg for a couple of minutes before we crack it open. And it ought to survive the inferno because it's coated with a remarkable new plastic.
And then you can then pick it up with your bare hands and then crack it open and it will still be raw.
Wait, so you can crack the egg, but it's fire resistant?
Yes. So if you coated this egg in Starlight, you could put it next to a blowtorch, right? You could put a blowtorch on it, even if you didn't cover the entire thing, just the part where the blowtorch like is, and the egg would like be there under the flame, nothing would happen. You can leave it there for hours if you wanted to. You can then pick up the egg with your bare hands instantly, so you didn't wait for it to cool down or anything like that, and then crack it open and eat the contents inside. You'd have to cook them first though.
I am definitely going to be the voice of the audience here. Can I coat myself in it?
We don't actually know because the full extent of what Starlight could have achieved for the world of technology and all that good stuff isn't really known because only one person on Earth knew how to make Starlight, Maurice Ward, and he now spends most of his time being dead.
So he invented this potentially incredibly useful thing.
World-changing technology.
How
yes.
recently was this?
The 1980s, late 70s.
So there is, like, he didn't just make it up, there is a record of this thing existing.
He did it on TV. Like, do you know the egg thing I'm talking about? That's not like a theoretical. He did that live on TV once for an episode of the show Tomorrow's World.
And you can see on the front here it's glowing red hot. But just watch this. If I turn the flame off and remember that it was producing 1200 degrees Celsius, and I take that charred bit and I put it flat in the palm of my hand, it only just feels warm.
And what I'm saying sounds like bullshit, right? Like, there's no way you could coat an egg in something where you could then just shine a blowtorch on it for an hour straight and the egg would not be cooked.
I want to know what... Wait, hang on, I thought it was about the egg breaking. It wouldn't be cooked.
It wouldn't be cooked now.
So it's not just that it's protecting the egg from the effects of the fire, it's protecting from the heat?
Yes.
Oh!
So like this egg, you could put it, like I said, like in Johnny Storm's jockstrap and it would not cook until you cracked it open.
I completely missed the word cook there.
Okay, you just thought
No,
it would...
I thought it was just that, he can't break the egg, but...
Well, the egg, you could break it as easily as you could a regular egg. You could just snap it.
And if I then crack it open, what's more, the egg hasn't even begun to start cooking.
So who was this guy? Was he like a NASA scientist or something?
He was a hairdresser. And according to him, he was inspired to create Starlight when he was watching a bonfire with his kids and he noticed that some materials were oddly resistant to a lick of sweet lady flame.
I mean, yeah, some things don't burn, like...
Yeah.
But how do we get from that to impregnable egg?
Impregnable. Yeah, how do you get impregnable eggs that is completely immune to the effects of heat? Well, Brad, this is going to sound like absolute horseshit, but he created Starlight with stuff he found under his sink in a food processor in his kitchen.
So why don't we know how to make this?
Because he never told anybody and he refused to patent it. So here's the thing about patenting stuff. You patent something, you have to divulge what it's made of. And that sounds like bullshit, but a very famous example like is WD-40. The actual exact composition of WD-40 isn't known to many people.
Isn't it WD and 40?
It might be, we don't know. Because supposedly that's a reference to the fact it has 40 different ingredients, but those ingredients and their exact quantities aren't known. And the WD-40 has never been patented because to patent it, they'd have to divulge how you make it, which means it's ironically more likely to be ripped off because you might get companies, say in China, who don't give a shit about copyright law or patent law, just ripping it off and making their own cheaper version. And Maurice Ward did the same thing where he refused to patent or trademark how to make Starlight so that no one but him knew how to make it.
No, we don't supply you the formulation. Yes. Yeah, if we give the world the formulation, that's exit us.
Right. Yeah. And then he never told anyone, and then he died.
And then he died, yeah. And a lot of what I'm saying probably sounds like bullshit, right? A guy who with no scientific background, like a hairdresser by trade, makes this wonder material that could absolutely change the face of like almost every facet of daily life, like from space travel to building houses to clothing.
Like firefighters.
Yeah,
think how good it would be for them to just be able to walk through a building.
Just think, having it on out, like putting it in paint and put it on your walls. It's like now your walls never absorb the heat.
Or
so
put it on your doors so the weakest parts of a room the fire can't get through.
Yeah, you would be able to make like completely fireproof material. Because I'm guessing there's a few people at home thinking they said this about another wonder material that was completely immune to the effects of flame, asbestos. And asbestos was sold in a very similar way when it was first discovered, or at least its fireproof properties were discovered and widely known. And they put that shit in everything. So Starlight posed no real danger to anyone.
It does give it enormous protection against fire, which would be very good in a fuselage, for instance. There are other materials that do a similar job, but they often produce toxic fumes or smoke, which this doesn't.
But how do we know that if we don't know what it was made of?
Because Ward would feed it to his dogs.
Dad used to give it to the dogs and the horses. It's natural. You can eat it, it's not going to kill you.
Your dogs and horses used to eat it?
Yeah.
And nothing happened to them?
And this is why Starlight actually could have been as world-changing as people claim. Because you've probably heard, being around the internet, every couple of years there's a new wonder material that could change the way the world functions. A while ago it was aerogel. Do you remember that? That super light material that was an amazing insulator.
I remember when carbon fibre was first going around.
Carbon fibre,
hydrophobic paints and stuff.
Super hydrophobic liquid, or you had spider silk. And the pertinent piece of information on all of those things is, yes, they could revolutionise many aspects of the world in which we live. However, when you read, I want to call this the I fucking love science effect, where you'll see a headline and that gets summed up. And I'm guilty of this myself. So I wrote for cracks in the websites who say, check out this new wonder material that could revolutionise the world we live in. The detail that they never clarify is what scientists always say is, it would change the world if we could figure out how to mass produce it.
We have a materials library with thousands of these samples in it. Most of them are not out there. They just haven't found their place in the world yet. We have, shape memory alloys, we have magnetic liquids, and they've all been invented by people, and they haven't quite made it into our lives because they don't quite actually do something we all need, want, and want to pay for.
But and yes, these materials and substances are revolutionary, and they will change some aspects of life, but they will never come down to the consumer level because the cost of making them is so prohibitive.
I think one of the modern examples of that is artificial meat.
Yeah.
Because they've managed to make the protein cells to make lab-made meat. But when they were like, would you like to try some, to this reporter or someone, and it was the tiniest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Half a slider's worth of meat.
When you give it 10, 20, 30 years, we will be able to mass produce it. But whenever you hear these stories, like you said, carbon fibre nanotubes and super hydrophobic liquid and stuff like that, it's it never makes it down to the consumer level because it's way too expensive. The same would not have been true for Starlight because it was literally made of stuff the guy found under his sink, and it was organic, which means it could be mass produced safely and in massive quantities for very little cost.
Yeah, but we don't know what he had under his sink.
We don't know what he had under his sink.
He could have had some very rare hairdressing stuff.
We don't know, but we do know his dog ate it and it was fine.
This guy is starting to sound like a bit of a bellend. I mean, I know it's not his fault that the way that the copyright trademark system works is that you need to divulge your secrets in order to not have anyone copy it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't sound like inventing something that could potentially help humanity and then being like, yeah, but it's mine.
Well, yeah,
it's mine though.
Well, he invented it, so he deserves to get paid, and it was his to do with what he wanted. It's considered now to be a lost invention. There are many things throughout history that could be lost. Like there's a couple of famous examples like Roman times where they invent like indestructible glass, like glass that you drop and it wouldn't break and it retain its form. And we've only just today figured that out with safety glass. And that took like, nearly 1,000 years to figure out. It's like if we'd have known how to make that initially, think about how far technology and science could have progressed if we'd known how to make that from the start.
You must be able to, somebody must be able to figure it out. We know that the stuff that he used was under his sink, so we know it's store-bought things that you could have access to.
Yeah.
And we know that the idea for him came from seeing something in a fire being burnt with it. There must be a way to sort of reverse engineer it.
And this is where we have to address the comments now, because there's going to be someone there linking to a YouTube video of someone on YouTube who's made it or made their version. All of those people, they're all full of shit, because while they might have made an incredibly good insulator against heat, it's not as good as Starlight.
In America, you've got a company called Thermoshield that your mother and another sister sold them a formula.
That formula isn't as good as what we've got.
So you're saying you've got some sort of super strength?
Yes.
Starlight?
Yeah. It's not about having it and putting it all together. You've got to put it together in certain stages. And if you don't know how to do that, it won't work.
What I'm saying kind of sounds a bit unbelievable, right?
Yes, it sounds exaggerated for the story.
So I should clarify that. NASA and the Ministry of Defence also thought that. And they got a piece of Starlight off of Maurice Ward and found out that he was actually underselling the capabilities that it had, because what NASA did is they exposed a small part of it to a military-grade laser that exposed the Starlight to the heat given off at point blank of a nuclear explosion, and it was fine.
NATO was also interested. It wanted to know if Starlight could withstand a nuclear explosion. Further tests were carried out at the Atomic Weapons Establishment in Foulness in the UK and the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico.
Which
that
means
must be what the fridge in Indiana Jones was made out of.
Which means if you coated this egg in Starlight, it could be at ground zero of a nuclear explosion and the heat wouldn't destroy it. The radiation and the force of the explosion were nothing, but the heat itself would not be an issue.
Is it nuclear blast resistant?
It's thermal blast resistant, if it doesn't get torn to bits.
So Maurice Ward was actually underselling how useful his invention was.
Why was it called Starlight?
Just that's the name he gave it.
But it doesn't give off any light.
No.
It's not a star.
It's just, just the name he thought for it. It's pretty good, naming convention, I suppose. But yeah, no one really knows how to make it. And there will be someone in the comments well, this YouTuber claims to have someone. It's everyone who's claiming that is full of shit, because there is one person left on Earth who does know how to make it, Maurice Ward's daughter, and she's also refusing to sell it or tell people how
But
it's
she's still
made.
making it, right?
She can make it.
Okay, so I thought when he said it's lost, I thought he meant nobody could ever make it again. This thing, if it's this useful, it needs to exist in some capacity.
It does, yeah, but I should probably clarify why it never got sold. It's because Maurice Ward wanted to maintain complete control over production of Starlight. He never wanted to know how it was made, so only he could make it. And even entities as large as NASA was no, we need to know how to make it ourselves. And he's like, no, because once you know how to do it, you'll just cut me out. Or you'll steal my invention and take it off me, I'm not going to tell you. Which, fair dues to him. And his daughter is similarly just as stubborn as he is. And there is amazing interviews with her where the interviewer sits down and goes, so, how'd you make Starlight? And it's do you really think you're going to be the one who gets it to tell you?
It's not like it's Tom Holland being for spoilers for Marvel.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so she knows how to make it, and her ideas for what to do with it are actually kind of incredible. If that, a dealer's ever reached to putting it into paint. So that way you can paint your house, and now your house never needs to pay. You don't need to pay for a heating bill anymore, because expensive insulation in the walls no longer an issue. Just paint your walls in Starlight.
I can see it being useful to keep heat in.
Yeah,
but it also won't let heat out. So in the summer, with the windows let the heat in, it'll be.
But that's the same thing, isn't it? You're never going to be. It's like that thing. You're never going to find one solution to every problem. But for the problem of maintaining heat indoors, that's a really good one. Or keeping heat out. Conversely, put on the outside of a rocket ship, or firefighters' clothes, or just vehicles in general if they burst into flames.
There's so many things that get hot when they're used, how easy it would be just to put some of that on it.
Yeah. I just think about, just computers inside, how many people watch this, their PC just melts because they've not got a good insulator against the heat. Right? How many times just phones overheat, or batteries overheat, or Teslas catch on fire. Or how many situations do you hear about where just imagine you see a fire and a fireman can just walk in an outfit where he knows he can walk straight. You can walk in and know that he can stand in a flame. for like, you know, hours at a time.
What if you live in a country where the temperature is really high and you need to transport eggs?
Yeah.
From a grocery store back to your house.
Well, that's when you think about that as well, like, you know, refrigerator trucks. You just put like one big block of ice in the middle and some of that shit on the outside and everything inside stays cool because no heat can get in. And yeah, like the applications were quite literally endless. Like there was like so many people chomping the bit to get some of this stuff, and yet they never could because Maurice Ward never told any fucker how to make it. And now his daughter's doing the same thing, so at the very least you can say he's consistent. But you know one thing you can get, Brad, if you really want?
What?
Some merch from us.
Oh, segue!
Right.
Eggway!
So I'll stop playing with the egg now, right?
Eggway.
And people are always thinking like this is not a real egg, so actually I'll watch that. Because I guarantee if someone in the comments like, oh, that egg's like it's a hard-boiled egg or something like that. Because you know you always get a person like that.
Are you going to crack the egg just to prove it?
Because someone out there's like, it's a hard-boiled egg or it's a rubber egg.
Don't give in to them.
So it is a real egg. Also, yes, I can crack an egg with one hand. I watched Gordon Ramsay once. Now I'm stuck with this egg in my hand, so egg. Egg! So people are thinking like, what these t-shirts behind? Well, this is original artwork provided by a friend and fan of the channel, After Death Comics, inspired by the prompt of, take our logo, the Fact Fiend, and create something with it using your own art style and imagination. And they came up with the idea of this just eldritch entity composed of like dark energy and knowledge. And we sent that over to our friends at Psycho, and they have taken that art and turned it into these two designs here. And what I did as well with the original art they sent is I came up with a backstory for the creature, which is the Keeper of the Forbidden Knowledge, or the Forbidden Knowledge Keeper, you know, to give it, you know, its full governmental name. And oh, the wind!
Jesus!
They know I'm talking shit. They know I'm talking. So government knows talking about Starlight. We need to shut this shit down. So yeah, and we held a vote for our fans if which design do you prefer? Because Psycho sent me two potential final designs. One with the design filled, one with the design not. And our fans voted for the one with the design filled. Yeah. So I'm happy to announce that pre-orders for this design are now open, which means that this design will never see the light of day, which means I own the only two t-shirts with this design on Earth. So
I took one of those other ones. I should have taken that one.
Should have taken this one because this is the one that you can't get anywhere. So what I'll do is for anyone who sends me proof of a pre-order of a Forbidden Knowledge Keeper t-shirt on Twitter, which will be linked below over the next, let's say, like 2-3 weeks. I think the pre-order is going to be open for a month. If you send me proof of your pre-order, at the end of the month, what I'll do is I'll just hold a raffle and I'll send this one to whoever wins it. But I should point out that it is let's have a look, it's a large. So keep that in mind, because we can't send you a different size because different sizes literally do not exist. Well, I'll get the entire Fact Fiend crew to sign it. We'll put some extra goodies in there for you. But
how are we going to sign it?
I guess we can. We'll get a white pen.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
bleach.
Yeah. We'll scrape off the design with our name with a knife.
Put our names into it.
I'm still holding egg as well. So yeah, if within the next
you're feeling stupid, are you?
A little bit, yeah. Well, yeah, if you just send me proof on social media that you have ordered or pre-ordered a Forbidden Knowledge Keeper t-shirt, you'll get entered into a raffle to win this one. So so you'll have two copies, but one will be signed by the Fact Fiend crew with some extra goodies. Then
I'm guessing you're going to keep the other one.
Doesn't know if someone wants it. Maybe if it's popular enough, maybe we'll do it too. So I think the other one's a medium. And if you're wondering why I haven't got more sizes, it's because I'm a medium or a large, depending on how I feel that day. But yeah, I'm really excited about that, and we should point out this comes with a lot of extra goodies, which include a D&D style monster sheet, which so you can put the Forbidden Knowledge Keeper into a D&D game.
I've already had a message from somebody talking about how their character in their D&D session is looking for a particular book, and they were saying this would be perfect.
Yeah, so this will be an extra thing that you'll get added into the thing. It's going to be a whole package. So you get a t-shirt, you get this, maybe some stickers or something, depending on what Psycho want to do. But yeah, I'm really excited. So pre-orders are now available at the links you'll find below. When they're gone, they're gone. So if you're watching this video a year down the line and you want to get one, fortunately, shit out of luck. Just like people want to make Starlight an egg.
Single delicious egg.
Egg. Worst bit is as well, I was drinking that water. Should I just down? No, I'm not going to down the egg.
Do it.
No.
With the shell in.
No, I'm not Rocky. The thing is though, I did used to down eggs when I was at the gym and it was awful. Downing eggs was it was not nice. I'm so glad I learned how to cook. Cheers. Should I do it?
It looks like a dirty pie.
It does, doesn't it? Egg.
You can at least put some alcohol in it or something.
No, I'm not going to. The shell's in there now. There we go. 20 minutes. Ignore that. Whew. Egg.